They're 0-2 at home in ACC play. Loss here to Clemson, and Corey saw it last week against Carolina, and away we go from the Pitt tonight. The freshman Foster out front with McCain, the veteran Roach, Filipowski, and Mitchell there for Coach Shire's team.
See, early, Duke wants to get the basketball inside to see how Pitt's going to guard Filipowski, and a great defensive possession, coach, on the first one for the Panthers.
Nice double, and he makes a bad pass, a deflection. Great start for Pittsburgh.
You see Lowe with Carrington, two young guys on the floor playing in this for the first time. Carrington can get electric on offense.
And Lowe in the starting lineup without Ishmael Leggett being able to play for the Panthers. Missed the last game. Not in the starting lineup for the second straight game for the Panthers.
Here's the Duke lineup, of course. You've got, we told you, Jeremy Roach, and then Filipowski and Mitchell inside, and Filipowski taps back home his own miss to open the score.
They come over to help on the driver, and he's going to be there all night.
Amazing. Duke was the leading rebounding team in the ACC a season ago. The Panthers are now the leading rebounding team in the ACC. We'll see how much this board plays into this game.
Here is Lowe, the freshman from Missouri City, Texas. All the way to the glass. Filipowski, the rebound. McCain. Attacking on the dribble. And he will score. Early hoop for Jared McCain.
Crafty. He normally does the majority of his damage from beyond the three-point arc, but of course the Panthers know he's a great three-point shooter. They're going to try to run him off the line. Makes a great move inside.
You know, they've got to get the ball to Henson. I mean, he struggled, yes, but he's the veteran guy on the team, and he's the guy that was setting the pace early in the year.
But, Coach, Duke is going to switch everything defensively against the Panthers. How do you go about getting Henson his looks?
There's Diaz-Graham and a foul on Mitchell.
You know, Henson's got to get his looks. When he gets the ball, he can't put it on the floor. He's got to let it kind of come to him. But at the end of the day, when they're switching everything, you got to make a play in those situations. You're not getting any advantage. And he's getting switched a little guard on him sometimes. He's got to be able to take advantage of that and get to the basket. That was a really good play there, and they've got to finish that play, but it gets the opportunity at the line.
Guillermo Diaz-Graham, 51% on the year. Pitt is 68%, by the way, on the season. But, Corey, 76 in conference play are the Panthers at the free throw line.
Well, they made their first 19 free throws against Louisville last time out. And really it was the free throw line that cost them the game against Syracuse on the road earlier, which could have been a difference in the trajectory of this team, especially starting out ACC play.
First points for Jeff Capel's team on the free throws from Guillermo Diaz-Graham, the older of the Spanish twins. 10 to shoot, and here's Foster. Back for Filipowski. On the drive in traffic, a little shot fake gets him his second field goal.
He struggled last game around the basket. He missed 3-4 of those. It's a good thing for Duke for him to get off to that kind of stuff.
But it's different when you've got to go out and guard a 7-footer that can put the ball on the floor, get to the mid-range, and pull up. Isn't going to get out of control and pick up the charge.
Here is Carrington.
See, they get a mismatch like that, they should try to take advantage of it.
There's a rise and fire three. Long rebound collected McCain. Duke wants to get in transition here, guys.
That's what Jeff Capel does not want to happen, is Duke getting in transition. Jeremy Roach gets a walk-up three.
And a lead for Austin to catch and score.
And you see they wait until the first field goal for the confetti to fly in the zoo.
Rebound Filipowski of the miss from Mitchell. Fresh 20 for the Blue Devils. Foster in traffic against Lowe. And Diaz-Graham runs it down. And Lowe steps out of bounds across the way at the scorer's table. And John Shire and Jeff Capel, both Duke alums, both former Mike Krzyzewski assistants, squaring off here tonight. And Shire makes a move to his bench. Tyrese Proctor checks in. And Guillermo Diaz-Graham takes a break as Federico arrives for Pitt on the floor.
But WD, did you hear my man moan to the side of me on the unforced turnover?
They painted these lines a long time ago. They don't change them.
Right.
You know, you just can't go outside the line.
And that is saved out of the corner by Proctor using the hip of Blake Henson to keep it for the Blue Devils.
In a game like this, of course, where every possession is so valuable, as a coach, you see Jeff Capel and Lowe steps on the sideline right in front of him. Do you even say anything to your guy at that point?
That's that's probably the worst thing a player can do in my book. Step out of bounds.
Austin with a terrific play on what looked like a catch and shoot from McCain, Corey.
Well, this is a guy that has 60 blocks and 63-point field goals in consecutive seasons. The only player that's done that in the last 25 years is a guy that won a National Player of the Year for the Blue Devils by the name of Shane Battier.
Wow.
So Zack Austin in some elite company, and right now he's making a difference defensively, guarding the best shooter for the Blue Devils in McCain.
Yep, and Austin's made a play on the layup, and now a couple plays at the defensive end for Coach Capel. 9 to shoot. Third try on the possession here for the Blue Devils.
This is the kind you got to finish it off. You've got pretty much got the stop. You've got to finish it. You can't let them score here.
Filipowski against Federico and turned it over. Low in the Panthers, trying to attack.
Well, Coach, this is what you're talking about. Federico has Proctor on his back.
Fall away.
Yeah, they got him guard against Filipowski, and they take the jump shot.
Look at Roach in transition, knocked down a triple. 22nd of the year for Jeremy Roach.
And this is my first game of the season with the Blue Devils, so I've been waiting to say that Jeremy Roach has been the best guard for the Blue Devils this season, doing a great job leading this team as a captain, as a veteran, and really a bounce-back year for him.
Yep, I would agree with you on that. Duke an early 5-point lead. Here's Carrington and a hand check Duke, and the Blue Devils with an early lead, and inbounds for Federico. Federico was stripped, and Duke in transition off the turnover. Here is Roach for another 3, and the rebound cleared away by Henson. With Corey Alexander, the Hall of Fame head coach Jim Boeheim, West Durham. Carrington to pull up. Spins out, Federico resets for Pitt. Here's Henson from the logo.
Shot.
That's the best sign for the Panthers they could have gotten in this game off the offensive rebound to see Henson get a wide open look.
First shot, and he gets it off the offensive rebound. That's the best three-point look you're going to get in basketball. Offensive rebound should throw everyone out to the three-point line.
Ryan Young has come in now. Filipowski works his way back to the scorer's table.
Coach Derek Coleman's on line 1. No, he's saying you don't throw them all out.
No.
You go score those, DC.
Well, Derek said he never got the ball unless he rebounded. So
and that's why he wasn't throwing it out.
Never thrown out. And most of the time, he dumped it anyway.
There you go.
Proctor knocks down the 3, the sophomore from Australia, who's averaged but 7 points in his last couple of ball games, 9.5 points on the regular season. Duke back to a 5-point advantage. Jeff Capel's got a young flavor to his lineup, even with a veteran player like Henson. Here's Jalen Lowe in the corner. Carrington 3. Federico the rebound from behind Young. Here's Austin in traffic, had it wedged from behind on the block. And Duke in transition, and McCain launches and hits. The Blue Devils have hit 3 threes in their last 3 shots from the floor, Corey.
But that's what Jeff Capel's fearful of. He talked about transition defense, and when you're playing against this team, not only Proctor, but of course McCain, who's their best three-point shooter, Jeremy Roach, these guys are all capable of pulling up on the break.
Biggest advantage of the first half of 8 now, Coach.
And nothing worse than you get a wide-open 3 and miss it, and they go down and make a wide-open 3.
Federico underneath the basket, feeds Austin for the dunk.
Austin finishing that one off with 2 hands, got it blocked on a previous possession, recognizing got to go stronger in the paint when you're playing against the Blue Devils. Ryan Young, an undervalued shot blocker.
Here's Young. backing in on Federico and scores.
I'd say there was one step extra, but we're not going to get on the officials tonight yet.
A little early, Coach.
Are you sure? Are you sure that we're not going to get on the officials tonight?
No, not yet. He said yes.
Oh, not yet.
I said yes.
I think I just did, but we'll just let it go.
Okay. 7 minutes in, Blue Devil lead is to 8 again. Duke is 3 of 7 from behind the line. Pitt is just 3 of 10 from the floor. And Pat Driscoll will call the foul, and it'll be on Jared McCain. And we welcome you courtside. Great to be with Corey Alexander and Coach Bay. I'm Wes Durham. All right, what have we seen here early? Jeff Capel had some concerns. One of them's already been realized.
Yeah, if you get transition, Duke gets open threes. They're making all of them. But Duke's defense has been good in the half court. The switching on every play is really hard because you don't get anything when you get that switch, and the guy has to then put it on the floor.
Diaz-Graham has come back in to replace Federico. Here's Henson. That's too strong. Air ball off the baseline.
With the right idea, Coach, you're posting Henson, but you don't want to post 15 feet away from the basket. Allow him to walk down, get a little closer, and then take advantage of his size against Roach on the block.
Filipowski against Diaz-Graham. That's a tough guard there, Coach.
But that's where the difference between the two guys with Federico on the floor. Jeff Capel wants to play straight up, but you see what Filipowski will do with Diaz-Graham if you don't bring the double team.
Yeah, he's just going to overpower him inside. Here's what he's going to try to get back on the other end, try to make a three, but if it's not going in, that philosophy does not work too well.
Off the miss of Diaz-Graham. Ishmael Leggett, by the way, defending Proctor here. He did not play in the Louisville game with some shoulder soreness. Back on the floor tonight for the first time. He had 4 points against Carolina to go with 8 rebounds, and there's Proctor, a 3. And we're going to get a Blue Devil foul. I think Filipowski tagged on this. It'll be his first.
The Blue Devils have made themselves comfortable here in the zoo. Jeremy Roach knocking down the 3, then finding Proctor for 3 more, and of course, McCain got to get involved.
The only 3 Pitt's got is the open look Hinson got on a toss out. They haven't got a good look off their offense.
The Panthers 5 of 29 a week ago here on their home floor against North Carolina. This is a team that averages 9.6 made three-point field goal baskets in a game. If they can't make shots, especially the open looks that they've been able to get, they don't have a chance against this Duke team.
Well, they made 12 on Saturday in Louisville.
What kind of sense does that make?
Again.
Duke is playing great defense. You got to give them credit too.
So here are the Panthers with the freshman Carrington. Leggett for Henson, and that's going to be a foul on Jalen Blakes, the junior from New Jersey. The Golden Globes were Sunday night, but Henson was nominated.
Oh, he tried.
Hey, that's a heads-up play. That's basketball IQ at its finest right there, WD. You hear the whistle?
Spoken like a guy who used to sell it.
See if you can get 3 shots out of it.
Any way possible.
Yep. Here's Carrington now, almost 9 minutes into this first half, trying to find some success in traffic. Nice double team with Young. 8 to shoot, and Diaz-Graham. This is Jorge wearing 31, by the way. Leggett from the parking lot. Bounds away for Foster.
Switching defense is giving them a lot of trouble. They just can't get anything going.
John Shire told us today he can go 1 through 5 when Federico is not on the floor.
And in all honesty, what that does, it takes you out of running your offense. You prepare for how you're going to play all week coming into the game, and then when you see Duke switching, which is what they did primarily last season.
Yep.
But this year they've been more of a drop coverage team. John Shire switching it up for Pittsburgh because he recognizes that Guillermo Diaz-Graham can shoot the 3 ball, so you can switch with him on the floor at all 5 positions.
Guillermo and Jorge both on the floor together. Will Jeffress has also checked in for Coach Capel's team. Here's Young kicking into the corner, and a 3 ball there, badly missed by Blakes. Carrington for Jeffress. Working inside on Filipowski.
Great job by Flip, moving his feet right there, but more importantly, staying on the ground, not jumping for the pump fake.
And that got knocked away from, and Blakes rubbed the dunk out, and Carrington going to be called for a foul here.
Only thing I'm thinking, Coach, is to be young.
All I'm thinking is, didn't he say he was going to try to get a dunk?
Well, that was actually Jeremy Roach that was going to try to get the dunk, but Blake does a great job getting the steal defensively, but the fall.
The only foul was, I think, by the rim.
The rim got him?
I think the rim got him.
It was all contact by the rim?
That was it.
2 shots, but Blake's has got to get some attention here. He's got a cut, little blood on his fingers on the inside of the hand. So Duke's veteran trainer, Jose Fonseca, now in his 19th year in Durham, will come over and have a look at Jalen Blake's. And a quick reminder to you that the ACC play just continues tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, PNC Arena in Raleigh. Atmosphere might be pretty good for NC State and number 7 North Carolina. Dave O'Brien, Jay Billis will be courtside. Tar Heels have won 9 of the last 11 in the series.
It is going to be rocking in there. You're talking about 2 3-0 teams in ACC play going at it. They are going to be rowdy in PNC tomorrow.
I like the way Carolina's playing both ends of the court. They picked up their defense. Their offense had been moving good all year. This is a really good test for NC State. It's a huge game for NC State.
We got to look to see that.
Carolina 3-0.
But watch the fall. Again, this is to be young. The foul is there. You see Carrington. But Blakes does a full split when he comes to the ground. That is. And Jalen Blake's trying to deal with the bleeding issue on his hand. So you send Jeremy Roach to the free throw line.
You get a better free throw shooter.
Yeah, Blake's 7 of 8. Roach is 85%, 8th best free throw shooter in the ACC.
Yeah. That's a good foul for Duke. And he did touch him on the hand, but it was really not much.
And Blake's actually going to.
They're going to take Jalen Blake's behind us here back to the Blue Devil locker room. So
he's got a stitch or something.
Yeah,
and
I believe.
That's a tough break for the young man from New Jersey. 5 for Roach as he hits both of the free throws on the Carrington foul.
That's why I didn't play all that defense. You see? You see what happens when you play defense? You get hurt. You get injured. So therefore, stop playing all that defense.
You didn't drive much. You just shot fadeaways.
Jeffers thought about the 3. Pitt needs a basket. Panthers now trailing 12. Low. Jorge Diaz-Graham.
Great job by the Blue Devils, though, getting out, covering the 3 on the possession, but been able to come up with the offensive rebound.
Jorge from Guillermo. And this Duke run and a foul called, and that will be on Caleb Foster. It's gone almost 4 minutes without a basket.
Yeah, Duke's defense is dominating this game right now.
And you're talking about a team that was one of the better defensive teams in the ACC a season ago. And John Shire told us, earlier today, he had to switch some things up. Yep. He started out the year doing things that they had done in the past, or they did last year, but it wasn't working for this group with this level of this personnel. And they're starting to find their way now.
They had Filipowski switching a guard 3 or 4 times, and they can't beat him. That's where you try to attack, and they haven't been able to do it, Kyle. Filipowski's done a really good job.
I thought the other thing he talked about today was the mentality he wanted this basketball team to have too, Coach.
He wants especially the sophomores coming back, to be more in charge. They need to take more charge, not just be passive. They're the guys.
And he also wants them to be cocky on the road, which I love to hear him say that, because when you think about winning on the road in college basketball, you got to have guys that walk in the gym and want to take ownership of that gym. You want to quiet the crowd. You want to quiet the zoo. He said they needed to be cocky. They haven't been that when they've gone on the road. And, of course, when you're Duke, you're going to get everyone's best shot. It's going to be sold out. Everyone, no empty seats. And you've got to have that mentality of we're coming in here to take this win.
And the interesting thing there is Mitchell gets double teamed. He still gets the shot up, and he still goes and gets the rebound out of a double team, and that's just physically going after the ball. He's a pretty talented player.
John Shire has won 38 of his first 50 games at Duke. It's the best first 50 in the history of Duke basketball for any coach. eclipsing the guy whose name's on the court and the guy whose name's on the building.
Yeah, and 38 for the Duke fans isn't good enough. So, let's just make sure you understand that.
I sure hope the Duke fans can determine whose voice is whose over here.
That would be Boeheim second.
You don't think they'd like better?
22-9. It's a 13-point lead for the visiting Blue Devils. Number 11 in the country. Looking for a second straight ACC road win. Nice fall-away bucket. Ishmael Leggett is the junior transfer from Rhode Island out of Prince George's County.
And you talk about two guys that have gone at it for a long time. Ishmael Leggett, Jeremy Roach. Leggett from St. John's College in D.C. Of course, Roach at PVI, Paul VI. So these guys have had some WCAC battles for a long time.
10 to shoot for Duke. Foster trying to get baseline on low. Found it through traffic. Filipowski's three. 9 for Flip here in the first half. His 14th triple of the year.
And when he's shooting the basketball from three, he is unguardable. Only 31% for him on the season thus far, but starting to play with more confidence. And again, this is a guy that missed the entire summer. He didn't play basketball all summer with 2 hip surgeries.
Low fed Diaz-Graham. Guillermo couldn't catch it and flush it. So with under 8 to play in the first half, the Blue Devils on the attack again. 4 threes from 4 different players, and there's Roach driving to the basket. And a timeout for Jeff Capel here. 7 for Jeremy Roach, Corey, and the lead is 16.
And Kyle Filipowski finding a rhythm here on the road. The nice find, the kick out, and of course you got the big fella wearing his coach's number for 3.
Knows all about Jeff's walk with his family and Jason and their family, and it's, Jim, you know this too, it's an endearing journey against just a ravenous disease.
Well, we have a platform. Jeff is using it, and that's what's so key. Use your platform, and he's doing that.
Jeff happy to see Blake Henson knocking down another 3, especially the execution out of the timeout, and now we'll see some zone defensively from the Panthers, but I can remember when Jeff told me that, of course, Jeff Capel II had ALS. It was actually through a text. Jeff watched me post a post with an ALS walk. And so he reached out to me and asked me what information I knew about it. And I didn't know much other than the fact that, of course, Boston College Sports Information Director Dick Kelly passed from ALS. And that's what kind of taught me about the disease at first.
Federico finishes on the nice catch and score inside. Foster answered Henson's 3 with another one for Duke. Blue Devils still attacking from behind the line. 5 of their 11 field goals are triples.
And you see the zone defensively for Pitt, so you got to make sure you identify the shooters. And it's tough when you have Foster, Roach, and McCain on the floor. All 3 of these guys are dangerous.
It's a tougher matchup, really it is. It's a good thing you want to try it, but I don't think it's going to work against this team.
No, wait a minute. We're talking about Mr. Zone defense. What do you mean it's not going to work?
Not going to work.
Low. Had it bounce out. Filipowski the rebound.
But, Coach, when you are playing against playing a zone against a team that shoots it this well, what are the principles that you have to stay involved with?
Well, first of all, it doesn't matter. They played man that time. But you've got to get out on the shooters and hope they don't get too much inside. But if you're not playing a lot of zone, it's hard to switch to that defense.
Duke is shooting it like they haven't missed in a month, Corey.
Well, this is a team that, has the potential to do that, and they're starting to find their identity. You're looking at a different starting lineup than what you saw earlier. Caleb Foster getting involved in the mix now as a starter where he was coming off the bench early. And it's that simple. When you shoot it as well as he does, he steps right into one, is able to knock it down. And then you get Jeremy Roach and Foster involved in pick and rolls with Filipowski. He knocks down his second 3. So when you've got guys on the floor that can shoot it at every position, it's completely difficult to guard.
McCain's come back in the game, had it knocked away, saved. And that was Austin keeping it alive for Henson. It is a 20-point Duke lead, and the Blue Devils are just ringing the bell from behind the line here in the first half. Pitt's got to find a combination of hitting shots and stops here in the final 5 minutes. Henson, fall-away 3. Got it. 9 for Blake Henson, all triples.
every one he gets is hard except for that first one. I mean, it's hard to make those shots. Duke is just switching and really getting up into them, making them drivers, and they're having trouble doing that.
Filipowski out of the corner, McCain.
You know, and we watched McCain, Foster, and Roach work out pregame. The three of these guys shooting together. Proctor also involved in that mix. But the ball rarely even hits the rim. You've got elite-level shooters between these guards for the Blue Devils, and when they're shooting like this, they're extremely dangerous.
There's a foul. It'll be a Blue Devil personal foul on Caleb Foster. It'll be his second. It's the 6th in the first half on Duke.
Coach, we get a look at the numbers right here. Duke comes into the game averaging 7.7 three-point field goals per game at 37%. Look at what they've done already tonight.
They're getting good movement. They hit the 2 against the zone, and different guys are shooting. It's not the same guy. They're hard to stop when they're shooting the ball like this.
1-1, 7th foul on the Blue Devils. Caleb Foster's the first Duke player with 2. You see Jeremy Roach kind of get everybody set as Lowe goes to the line. Jalen Lowe is from Missouri City, Texas. There's an interesting tie to this game tonight with Lowe. His godfather is John Lucas II. Okay, well, Duke's got an assistant coach named Jay Lucas. And now here's Jalen Lowe. So we got a little bit of the family picnic here, Corey, is what I'm telling you.
Well, let me tell you this. Jay Lucas and John Lucas, of course, the son of my former assistant coach, John Lucas, the great all-time great at the University of Maryland. And he likes to remind people, #1 pick in the draft.
Right.
The first point guard to be drafted #1 overall.
I coached against him. He was pretty good.
He was pretty good?
Yeah.
Coach, did you coach against Wilt Chamberlain? I mean,
I played against him, but I was a little bit behind.
a little behind Wilt.
Couple of years.
You coached against pretty much everybody.
Couple of free throws for Lowe. Here's Young working on Federico. Back for Foster. Boy, Caleb Foster, and then turns it over. Zack Austin's got it in transition. Crossover gets him to the lane. Can't finish against Young. And Ryan Young is going to be the beneficiary of a foul, I believe, on Austin. So the foul will be actually on Henson. That's his second, Coach.
Duke's ball movement has been great. Obviously, you're making shots, but to make shots, you got to move the ball, and that's what they're doing. They're getting great looks, and they're going to make those shots.
Zubin, Coach, thanks very much. More coming up at the half. Big win tonight by Iowa State against Houston, unbeaten. And, of course, Kentucky got Missouri ahead of us tonight.
Yeah, and Florida State 3-1 in the league now.
Yeah.
So that start they had.
Yep.
Pretty good recovery.
Yep. Wake Forest falls for the first time in ACC play. All that and more coming up at the break with those guys. All right. Duke is on fire. CA shooting it here.
The difference is they're on fire on the road. It's not something we've seen from many teams throughout this year. We talk about Wake Forest going into Tallahassee at 3-0. They can't beat the Seminoles on the road. So that's even more impressive about the Blue Devils, the way they're shooting it here out on the home floor.
They're getting great ball movement, getting open shots. When you get open shots, that's when you can make them.
Henson stays on the floor for the final 3:41 after picking up his second. Blue Devil turnover here. Ahead for Leggett.
You can't take him out. 2 fouls or not. You got to leave him in. You got to get him going.
And we're going to get a Duke foul. And if it's on McCain, no, it's Mitchell. Mark Mitchell, a sophomore from Kansas City. That's his second. He becomes the second Blue Devil with 2, joining Caleb Foster. Now John Sharp will take Mitchell out as Henson goes to the line here.
He's got more guys.
So So here's Blake Henson from Deltona, Florida. And the front end of the 1-and-1, no good. By the way, Mitchell came out. Filipowski came back.
Yeah, that's not a bad trade-off, to say the least, for the Blue Devils. As Coach mentioned, you've got more options.
When you're as deep as Duke, you can have a guy, Mitchell, comes off 2 career highs, and now he hasn't really got anything tonight. But that guy is coming off a couple bad games and having a big game.
He's got 14 in the first half. That's his 6th field goal in 7 tries, Corey.
I love the way he adjusted to the left hand around the shot blocker and Federico, making sure he was able to still get a bucket.
3 ball out front. Carrington, no good. Scoreless first half so far for the freshman Carrington for Baltimore.
Coach, Jon Scheyer talked to us earlier today. He said that the guy that they had to stop was Henson. That Carrington was going to get his. He was going to find his way to score, but Carrington was always the leading scorer in their losses, so controlling Henson was going to be more of a thing. Henson's actually been able to get going a little bit, but they've kept Carrington under control.
But he's getting shots. You know, some cases they haven't gotten good shots, but Carrington got some shots.
Austin Long with the 3, kept alive. And here's Tyrese Proctor. Inside of 2 to go in this first half. Blue Devils are 61.5% from the floor, 57 from behind the line. Thus a 22-point lead. And Proctor, they scoop it around for McCain. His 3 was too strong. Carrington tried to get it to Federico. Couldn't handle it. Here's Proctor with the Duke. Turnover from Pitt. A pull-up 3. And the follow is good. And that's Jared McCain.
Jared McCain with his 2nd bucket in the paint. We saw him drive it earlier and then coming up with the offensive rebound. But I love that from McCain. Even though he's a shooter, he didn't stand and wait for the basketball in the corner. He went and got an offensive board.
Most guys stand out in the corner. He went right and got it.
Where would I have been, Coach? In the corner?
Absolutely.
Oh, in the corner.
You were nailed there.
Look at this. We're trying to get a 3rd and 1 converted at the top of the circle here. And a held ball will ultimately stay with the Pitt Panthers. Quick reminder to you, big games and events continue to highlight our January calendar. NHL Saturday matinee, Rangers and Caps at 1 o'clock Eastern. Spanish Supercopa Finals comes up Sunday. Wild card Monday night in Tampa with the Eagles and Buccaneers. UFC 297 is a week from Saturday. Jam-packed January right here on ESPN, ABC, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Plus.
Okay, WD, so we know Jon Scheyer is a Bears guy. Of course, my guy Jay Lucas is with me in the Cowboys. We know you're a Falcons guy. Coach Boeheim, who is your football team?
It was the Patriots, but I had to switch to the Bills.
Oh, you went to the Bills.
Yeah.
It is a little closer.
You got to go to the winners. Yeah.
By the way, Coach, Carrington just got his first bucket, and you say when you're here that you're for the Steelers. That's what you
I know. I can't.
No, you don't, Coach. We don't do that.
I don't do that. I'm a Bills fan.
All right. Now you're a Bills fan, apparently.
Yeah.
You're part of the Mafia.
Went to their practices this year.
There you go.
Fun to do.
Filipowski a deep 3. What a half for Filipowski, by the way. That's 17 now on 3 first-half triples.
But he's doing it inside and outside. This is the reason why Kyle Filipowski was the ACC preseason player of the year.
Henson a 3 at the horn, bounds away, and Duke is going to take a 25-point lead to the locker room here, fellas.
This has been an offensive exhibition for the Blue Devils, Coach. They have done it in every form, every fashion.
Every way, and their defense has been really solid.
60% from the floor, 53% from behind the line.
Well, you got to look at, you got to play every play, but you got in the 10 minutes, you got to get at least 10 points off it, and that's going to be hard to do unless they miss some shots.
Foster misses there, and Caleb Foster was 2 for 2 from behind the line. He had 2 of the 9 threes in this big sparkling first half Duke had offensively.
And if you're Jeff Capel, you want to continue to see if you can keep Filipowski from being dominant in the post, but you've got to make sure that your guys stay closer to the shooters. I hope they fall in love with some and start missing them.
Austin knocks down a 3, his 15th of the year. By the way, it is of note, Blake Henson had 9, but Buck Carrington only had 2. for the Panthers in the first half. Filipowski's 17 led all scorers. Here's Mitchell, who, by the way, had a tough first half. Only a free throw to his credit after back-to-back games where he set career highs. And you see Diaz-Graham reach in and knock it away off Filipowski.
They're playing off Mitchell. They're just Hinson's playing back in the lane off him, and he's not going to take that shot.
You see the nice find from Diaz-Graham to Zack Austin, who knocks down the corner three, and maybe that's something that can get the Panthers going, being able to get the three to go down in the first offensive possession of the second half.
Yeah, they're trying to get the mismatch and then see if they can get the double team and then try to get it and get a good shot.
Henson over the top of McCain, and Diaz-Graham couldn't collect it. Neither could Filipowski.
But you see McCain never went in to help on that one. He stayed close to Henson, so when he caught it on the opposite side of the ball swung around the perimeter, he was right there.
Well, Pittsburgh, Duke really adjusted well after the double team. They didn't give him an easy shot.
Roach had 7 points, but also 4 first-half assists. Filipowski a soft fall away. 19 now on his 8th field goal, rather.
His 9th.
Coach, as we watch him go off the bounce, we see him shoot the three. We see him post up. I believe, and more importantly, we see him switch on pick and rolls. I believe Kyle Filipowski is actually going to be a very good NBA player. I think all those attributes allow him to be very good at that level. You've coached more NBA players than me. What do you think?
I only coach the very best NBA players, so I'm not a real good judge of that. When you coach the Olympics and you're LeBron, and they're not normal NBA players. Yeah, Kyle can shoot it. He moves pretty well, and he's a tough kid. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to predict the NBA for big guys, the way the game is being played today, but he can shoot it as a big guy, and that's going to help him.
Mitchell, by the way, the breakaway dunk for his first field goal. Duke's got 20 fast break points in this ball game now, in addition to the hot three-point shooting we saw in the first half.
It's been an impressive performance by the Blue Devils. We talk about the NBA, a lot of scouts in the building. So watch this one as you see Jalen Lowe go high off the glass. But he was able to do what we've talked about throughout this game. When you get a big man to switch out onto, you got to be able to put him in drive to find a way to finish at the rim or find a teammate for a shot.
They're doing a little better job of that in this half. They're getting a little better looks.
Here's Roach back for Filipowski. A little help there. Finally, here's Foster. Soft jumper good. Boy, Caleb Foster came to Duke. Reputation of a scorer. He was the first of the heralded recruiting class to commit. And tell you what, he has delivered, averaging almost 6 in conference play, 8 during the regular season.
He's a young man that can absolutely shoot the basketball, but he may not be the best shooter in the class alone, because Jared McCain probably has the title for that one. But you bring in 2 guards that can absolutely shoot the cover off the rock.
Roach commits the foul. John Shire, terrific recruiting class this year. Another one coming next year. Headlined, of course, by Cooper Flagg.
Got a special player coming in next year. He's not normal. He's different.
He's not normal.
He's not normal.
I've heard a lot of things about Coop, but that's the first time I heard that one, Coach.
I can't wait to read that one in the Duke release. Quote Boeheim, he's not normal.
He does it all. Everything, and then something that you don't think he does, he can do that too.
He absolutely does. Had opportunity to go watch Coop, and of course, known him since he was in the 7th grade, but watched him at the City of Palms a few weeks ago and ran into our guy Dickie V. So he made sure to tell me to keep doing your thing on TV. He likes your work right now, Coach.
He's the best. We miss Dickie V. I mean, Nobody has meant more to the game of college basketball than Dick Vitale and to pediatric cancer research. No one.
Yeah.
And you like him or love him, whatever it is you think, he's been unbelievable for the game of basketball.
No question. And our best to Dick and Lorraine.
They're the best.
Sure, he's keeping an eye on this one here tonight.
Oh, he's locked in. His granddaughter goes to Duke.
Get a timeout after a Blue Devil foul. It'll belong to the Panthers, but Kyle Filipowski coming in, averaging less than 10 in his last 2. Well, he's well over that. 19. And the Blue Devils with a big lead here early in the second. Zubin, Coach, thanks very much. Interesting night across the country in college basketball. This road performance by the Blue Devils has been impressive here tonight at the Peterson Event Center in Pittsburgh, and a lot of it having to do with what the Blue Devils have done behind the three-point line. Here's Henson trying to answer for the Panthers and had it spin out.
Coach, it's hard to survive off of individual plays like that when you have to go and make a tough shot.
Yeah, the switching is just taking them out of their offensive game, and they're just having to go at guys, and those are hard shots.
Roach on the scoop and score. He's got 9.
Jeremy Roach, a much better player attacking the basket than he was, of course, a couple seasons ago. Does a great job of knowing when the time to go to the basket, when to shoot the three. But again, he's the seasoned veteran on this Blue Devil team.
Austin on the kick out from Leggett. And here is Proctor. Into the front court for Duke and taken away. And here is Guillermo down the floor. And he had it stripped. And there'll be a whistle and a foul. And it's going to be on Leggett.
Most impressive part of that play is the fact that both Proctor nor McCain gave up on that play. Even though it's a turnover, they both chased down Guillermo Diaz.
Yeah, and they've done that, taking the ball away under the basket and 3 or 4 times tonight where it's an easy basket. He's got to learn to secure that and get it in the basket.
Filipowski squares for another one.
Also got to learn not to hold that hedge too long if he's got to get back to a guy that's 4 for 4 from beyond the three-point arc now. Tough scenario for Guillermo Diaz-Graham to be in.
Filipowski now with 22 in the ball game, and that's his 4th 3 of the night, and a turnover by the Panthers. And turned over by Duke before they could get the ball to the rim. Filipowski had 22 against Pitt last year in the ACC quarterfinals at Greensboro. He was 8 of 10 from the floor that night and 4 of 6 from behind the line. Austin trying to answer. And we're going to get Proctor couldn't contain it on the end line.
I did that game a year ago, WD, and it was very similar to this one.
Yeah.
It was a rout by the Blue Devils, I believe a 30-point win when it was all said and done.
Yeah, 96-69. Yep.
But it wasn't the news of the ACC tournament, however, though. It's a guy beside me who
that was the news.
Kind of stole the show at the ACC tournament last year.
The news at the tournament is sitting to your right.
Try to get it publicity any way I can.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciate you. Yeah. That was the news at the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely the news of the tournament.
Yeah, until Saturday night when Duke won the title, there was the headliner right there sitting to you. To your right there, sir.
I'm impressed with Duke tonight. They've struggled on the road for 2 years, and they are not struggling. They're playing good both ends of the court. When they get their shots, they're knocking them down.
Yep, here is a sliding drive. Proctor couldn't finish. Young, who spelled Filipowski in there a moment ago. Now here's Mitchell baseline, foul from behind by Federico.
Because we're watching this team grow, though. I mean, if you go back and you look at the Georgia Tech game, December 2nd, to now, the road games for the Blue Devils, and John Shire even said the Notre Dame game, they had to grind that one out.
Yep.
And so when you look at what you're seeing from them right now, they have a different level of confidence when they step on the road.
And this is going to help them moving forward because obviously they got a lot more road games. This kind of a game is obviously going to give you the confidence. Pittsburgh's pretty good. They've struggled in the league a little bit, but they're not bad. And to come in here and dominate gives your young guys an awful lot of confidence.
Don't forget Saturday basketball tripleheader over on ACC Network. Number 21 Clemson welcomes Boston College. That's presented by Food Lion. And then you see Duke and Georgia Tech, 5 o'clock from Cameron Indoor Stadium. And then we'll close down in Blacksburg at the Castle on Saturday night. Jim Larinaga and Miami visiting Virginia Tech. All of that on ACC Network and always available for you on the ESPN app.
WD, I would assume that you're going to be on one of those games. Where will we find you this weekend?
I will be in Blacksburg to see Miami's road trip.
Good game.
Yeah. Miami, you know what happens up there with Virginia Tech at the Castle. Little Charlie hit one from half court one night.
The loudest building in the ACC. I said it, yes. It is actually louder than Cameron Indoor. However, I've never done a Duke, North Carolina game, so can't judge upon that. Any other game I've been in the Cameron Indoor hasn't been.
When you play like this on the road, it's very quiet. That's the best way to quiet the crowd. You start making shots, and it's just the way it is. You got to.
And Young, who had a chance at the three-point play a moment ago, turns it over. Pitt in transition. Carrington's had a tough night. That got swatted away by Filipowski. And we're going to get a break in the action. 62-28.
It above right there. Not having his best night.
No, he's not happy. He's a winner. He wants to win. He's not at all happy up there.
It was a Baltimore elite fame and was the first coach as his son lines up another one, unable to get that down. He's first coach of Team Mello, of course, who was established by our guy Bay.
Bay.
Your guy, of course.
Don't give anybody else credit. Bay did it.
Out of bounds, it'll belong to Pitt off the baseline. Duke by 31 tonight as you get a look at the freshman who, by the way, Bub Carrington, little Bub's second cousin is Rudy Gay.
Baltimore connection.
Yeah.
And you think about it, you talk about the players that have come
a lot
from Baltimore.
Oh, yeah.
Going back to Herman Hareed. Let's start with Tree.
Michael Brown and Herman Hareed. Herman Hareed is one of the best high school coaches in the country now. Has won multiple state championships. And of course, Dante Green after that, C.J. Fair, and what was that other guy's name from Baltimore?
Got same initial as me. I call him Little C.A.
Yeah, Mello, that's it. My assistant, Troy Weaver, told me we're going to win a national championship with this guy, Coach. I said, really? And he was right.
Yeah, he was right.
He was on point. And, Coach, I'm going to say this, and not because you're here. I say it all the time. The best one and done in college basketball history, Carmelo Anthony. No question about it. You think about not just the numbers and everything that he did, but winning a national championship. Had pretty good players with him also.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry Mack.
Yeah, Jerry Mack. Yeah. There's a jump shot, and that's Jalen Lowe.
No one wins the national championship without a lot of help. That's, it's the bottom line. It's hard to do, and you got to have a lot of help.
Here is McCain. The collective effort tonight by Duke, especially in the first half and here in the early stages, first 10 minutes of the second half, has been impressive. Now, you start talking about John Shire here, he's going to start looking at this, and he knows what this is, which is the ACC in the net. And, Corey, that's the top 70. Pitt at 53, Duke at 18, but a road win doesn't hurt you in that formula.
No, it only helps. And, again, of course, I've truly learned a lot about the NCAA tournament and the selection process from my guy to the right here. Coach Boeheim schooled me on a lot of this, and one of the first things he told me was the road matters. Yep. That's the biggest key, is winning games on the road.
I think when you're close, we got in a couple years because we had a couple good road wins. Not just playing on the road, but beating somebody on the road. And net or no net, which I'm not a net believer, but you have to win games on the road if you're on the bubble.
Jeffress the three, his fourth of the year. First points tonight for Will Jeffress, redshirt junior from Erie, who battled injury a year ago and has come back after off-season foot surgery, canceled out most of his 23 campaign.
Jeffress is a guy that reclassed up to join Jeff Capel here at Pittsburgh. Went his senior season.
That rims out of the corner from McCain, and here is Carrington.
This is what I love seeing with Jared McCain. With the reputation of being a scorer, which he's an elite level scorer, especially from the shooting standpoint, but getting after it defensively, and I think that's been the difference with this Duke team. They're starting to gain their identity on the defensive end of the floor. I believe when these guys came in, they thought it was all about offense and what they needed to do, but John Shire making it very clear they have to be good defenders to play for them.
Yeah, I think that's a part of it, but also their offense, they've got a lot of weapons offensively with Proctor coming back now and Roach. McCain. They've got shooters, and when they have Kyle inside playing the way he's playing tonight, they're a difficult team. You double him, he passes it. Those shooters, you don't double him, he scores.
There's been discussion, though, that they don't have that guy at the rim, the Derek Lively presence, if you will, from a year ago, though, fellas. That's the part that keeps coming back in conversation. But when you play like this at both ends, and you're as connected as they've been tonight, it doesn't matter.
Rim protection doesn't matter as much when you play good defense. When you get beat a lot, then you need a rim protector back there. But they don't get beat a lot from the perimeter. Their perimeter defense is pretty good. But no, I think they'll be fine.
There's Guillermo Diaz-Graham knocking down a three.
WD, that goes into what John Shire talked to us about earlier today, pregame, where he said we had to change a lot of things from what we did a season ago. A season ago, they had that rim protection, but they don't have it now. Although Kyle Filipowski's averaging 2 blocks a game coming into this one. So he's a guy that is doing a great job at the rim when he's there. But, of course, when they're switching defensively, oftentimes he's out guarding guys on the perimeter.
Yeah. Filipowski, by the way, is top 10 in the ACC in points and rebounds coming in. He's 12th in field goal percentage. But he'll only go north after tonight's effort. And, Corey, you mentioned the blocks. He's 4th in the ACC in block shots. He had 27 coming into tonight, did the preseason player of the year. Timeout in Pittsburgh.
Going to be ready for the most passionate fan base in the league.
And how about Florida State, a 5-point win tonight over Wake Forest, who was 3-0 in the league, Jim?
Well, Florida State couldn't beat anybody, and now they're winning in the league. So who knows? Who knows? But that game, North Carolina, NC State, a lot there.
Yeah.
You know, you'd hate to see that go away someday, too. That's what's crazy about this whole realignment stuff.
Here is Guillermo Diaz-Graham. He draws a foul on the way up. You saw Notre Dame and Georgia Tech. That's over on ACC Network in Atlanta. Final game of a doubleheader tonight over on that channel. And here tonight, we have watched Duke. John Shire used the word cocky. Want to play cocky. He uses it in a positive way, not an arrogant way, just an attitude and a mindset. And I like the idea of what he instilled into his team about playing this game tonight, because he knows the reputation of this Pitt team from 2 meetings a year ago, Corey. Not just the one at Cameron, but also the one in the tournament at Greensboro.
But not only that, as we got to look at John Shire and the 2 guys to his left, understand when you think about Chris Carrawell and then Will Avery on the bench as well, you think about they understand what it's like to play for Duke.
Yeah.
And to go on the road. And you're going to have some people cheering for you, but you're going to have way more jeering at you. And they understand you have to be cocky to be able to come in and play in that fashion. I asked them, do you want us to use that word? Because, of course, the word cocky has a negative connotation to it. People used to call me that all the time. And so, therefore, but as you mentioned, he uses it in a positive way.
Yeah, I like to say confident, but, you know, you can use that word. But they're playing with confidence, but it comes from hitting a couple shots early. And Kyle Filipowski hit a couple early. Roach hits one early. All of a sudden, that's contagious. And, you know, Pitt couldn't hit anything, mainly because of the defense that Duke played.
Austin scoring there. Zack Austin, a transfer from High Point, originally from Winston-Salem. Tell you what, the star tonight is Kyle Filipowski's 11 of 12 from the floor. He's already got another double-double. By the way, that's his 5th of the season and the 21st of his Blue Devil career. And he tried to pass out of a double team there. He and Diaz-Graham both hit the deck, and here's Lowe going the other way for Pitt.
And WD, this was a team that at the beginning of the season was not cocky. They weren't even confident, as you see.
Oh, Sean Stewart.
Big time block by Sean Stewart.
That was a block.
Sean Stewart's another guy that can help this team because he has the rim protection. But you look at Duke versus ranked opponents this season, they got punched in the mouth by Arizona on their home floor. They got the win against Michigan State, but the most important game that they've had this year has been the win over Baylor in New York City.
Yeah.
That's the one that I think allowed this team to start to understand the identity they have to play with to be successful.
And Blake's got tangled up with Diaz-Graham. And I think Jalen Blakes is going to pay for it with his foul. That'll be the 5th on Duke. You see that 1-2 mark. The road win is the victory on Saturday at Notre Dame. The losses are Georgia Tech and Arkansas in the ACC-SEC Challenge. There's Carrington with his 2nd field goal of the ball game.
That was better. He'll get over this game. He'll learn from it. That's what freshmen do.
T.J. Powers come in for the first time. He wears number 12 for the Blue Devils. Here is Sean Stewart. High rising jump shot. Stewart, by the way, Corey, set a Duke basketball record for vertical leading up to the campaign.
Unbelievable athlete. Gets it all from his mom. Nicole, that's where the athleticism comes from. I'm giving Yogi no credit.
Yeah.
Michael Stewart, of course.
Well, terrific player, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, and an elite shot blocker. That's where Sean gets the shot blocking from. But Nicole gets all the credit for the athleticism.
Yeah. Here is Carrington with 15 to shoot. One of the interesting pieces about this, and there's a runner and the scorer by Bub. All of his points have come here in the second half. And it's a 21-point Duke lead with 4.5 to go. The Panthers are going to have to wait on this. They do not play this weekend. They have the bye weekend, if you will, in the ACC rotation. So they go to Syracuse, or Syracuse rather is here next Tuesday night. The Orange had beaten the Panthers 81-73 in late December. Another quick 2-game spin in the conference schedule. That's a block by Austin, who can also get off the deck. And Stewart poked that away from Lowe and saved it to Proctor. And here is Power. And back to Foster with under 4 to go here.
I like what John Shire's doing right now with Proctor and Foster on the floor together. These are the two guys. As Powell was able to step back and knock down a 3, and we know he can score, elite scorer. But you see Proctor and Foster, these are the two guys that John Shire made it clear to us. We need more from both those guys.
Yeah.
They're getting consistent efforts right now from Roach and McCain. But the 4-guard lineup, 5 if you include Blake's in that bunch, he knows he's going to get from those guys. He needs these two guys to step it up.
Carrington's got 10 all here in the second half.
3 in a row, I think. He's just couldn't get going early.
Yeah.
He'll learn from this.
And he got a lot of good looks early, Coach.
He did. It wasn't that he was taking bad shots. He just couldn't get in the basket.
And if some of those go down, it really changed the complexion of this game.
Totally.
And Duke now winds the shot clock inside of 10. Back for Power out of the corner one more time. Too strong. And it was saved to Austin by Diaz-Graham.
TJ Power had an elite summer last summer and went from a little school to come to Duke, and it's going to take him a little while to get used to playing here at Duke.
He put up big numbers in the EYBL last summer.
He was one of the best players in the EYBL that summer.
And Carrington threw that pass for Jeffress beyond his reach. So we get a stoppage of play. 2:20 to play tonight at Pitt. Duke on the way to their 12th win.
Well, you went to a good school. That's all right. I mean, you couldn't quite make it at Syracuse, but it's okay. We still love you in Syracuse, especially my wife Julie.
Well, I was getting ready to say, let's get down to who his favorite Boeheim is.
By far. But her judgment obviously isn't good. Look at who she married. So we got to go by that too.
Oh man. Sean Stewart, by the way, out of Windermere, Florida, sets it down softly with 2 hands. His first points of the night out of the timeout. This has been an impressive performance tonight by the Blue Devils.
It absolutely has been. And again, they've gotten so much production from many different guys. The guard shot the basketball extremely well. Kyle Filipowski's played like the ACC preseason player of the year that we were expecting for him to be. But most importantly, the defense, holding Pitt to 50 points on their home floor, has been impressive.
Here is Stewart again, and fouled by Guillermo Diaz-Graham. So that'll take Stewart to the free throw line.
Yeah, the defense really was the key. I mean, they made shots, and they would have won the game with just pretty good defense, but they played really good defense. They didn't let Henson get looks. Carrington, they kept him off balance, and they just dominated the game on both ends.
Coach, with a week off, and you're Jeff Capel, you don't play this weekend, so your next game is a week from tonight against your alma mater.
Yes, sir.
With a week off, what is that you're trying to get across to your team throughout this time where you're going to have just a little bit of a break?
Well, you played the best team in the league probably, and we didn't have our stuff, and they did. So let's just worry about the next game. Let's work hard this week. We played in Syracuse. It was a close game the whole way, so we got them here. Let's let's just play our game.
Jim, you can't get lost on the long game. You got to stay to the short game, right?
That's everybody says it, but it's true. The next game, you can have a bad night, and you can still come back and beat somebody really good the next game, or win 2 or 3 in a row. I mean, it's the game of basketball.
Here's Blake's ahead for Proctor. Meanwhile, Duke welcomes Georgia Tech on Saturday.
They're going to be thinking about that first game down there in Atlanta.
Well, and then they get a week off before guess who comes to Cameron? Pitt. How about that? Yeah. It's interesting. Both these schools have just one game before they play each other again, Corey, in the next 12 days.
It's scheduling. It's the way it works sometimes. Not good.
Spot up by Foster, no good. Duke will get a second chance. Here's Proctor teeing one up. And that'll be pulled away. It's going to be an interesting rest of this month, I think, in the ACC. We've got some things kind of set out there. You saw Carolina last Tuesday night rather. They played well, got the win, played a very physical brand of basketball. We get an unbelievable performance by Filipowski tonight. 26, 11 of 12 from the floor. Hit all 4 of his threes.
I think Kyle Filipowski is just rounding into form. Yeah. He missed this summer because he had the
hip issues.
Yep. And so I think when you take off that much time, I believe right now he's just starting to get a rhythm.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. There's a reason he was preseason player of the year. And, and you're right. It takes a little time to get yourself back after you have that kind of surgery and you're off for so long. And, he's a really good offensive player.
Well, they are going to win in a commanding fashion tonight. 75-53 is the final. And John Shire picks up his 12th win of the year, his 3rd in the ACC, headed home to meet Georgia Tech on Saturday.
And don't forget, what I said earlier, John Schreier has done a great job.
Sure has. And tonight his team wins by 25. Here is Scott Van Pelt in D.C.